All right. Welcome back to What She Said Sports, everybody. All right. So I put together a great show for you. So welcome. Come on in. Come on in. If you're just not joining us, subscribe to the channel. I'm sure you'll like it. Great community here. I shared a link in the comments to a page I was watching about the top 10 Black contemporary artists. And I said, I see something. I really do. I see what the artists are trying to share with the audience, right? The Black experience. And then I think about the Black experience in the NFL, right? And there's a lot there, right? So while the video is just really good and it's about the topic, the subject of art, I see the connection that the artists are trying to share with this audience in portraying the Black experience. And because I'm a football fan, follows Shedeur back to the league, grew up with the Saints, grew up with football, period, right? Was a cheerleader, right? So no stranger to sports, whether it's basketball, football. I might be new to soccer. I might be new to NASCAR, but I'm a sports fan. So, it's just interesting to me that I can see the parallels in how Black contemporary artists are making it a point to share the Black experience. And I think about how I witnessed the Black experience unfolding in the NFL. So there's a connection there. Go watch the video. It's really good. I put the link in the chat. It's like it's like the consciousness of two worlds coming together is what's on display. So they aren't talking about sports, but I can kind of see what is happening here. So there's actually a movement in place, whether it's indirectly or directly. If you watch Coach Prime, his press conference, coming back from the bye week, he was asked about needing to recharge, getting an opportunity to recharge. Did he need that? Did the bye week come at a good time? And Coach Prime said, no, I didn't need to recharge. In fact, he didn't say it was a disruption, but he would have preferred to just keep going. Why? Because the momentum was up, it's high, and they could have just played another game. And he said, God got me. He said, I know it sounds like a cliche. He said, but no, it proves that God got me. So I instantly thought about Justin Fields, how people are trying to give him a hard time for saying that he'll use his platform since he's benched. He'll use his platform to spread the word of God or to look at, God's purpose for him, etc., which is smart. That's what you're supposed to do. Then I thought about Travis, right? So Coach Prime, Travis, and Shedeur. Shedeur put out his statement today about what he has learned thus far in his NFL experience. Now, of course, he didn't say his NFL experience as a Black quarterback, but it is the Black experience in the NFL. That's really what it is. The same thing that the artists are portraying. What happened recently, a movie came out called Him that a lot of people feel like has crept into the consciousness, speaking to the consciousness of these Black NFL players, asking, how much are you willing to give up? And there's one reigning theme throughout the NFL when it comes to Black players, and it's control. Control, being forced to submit, being expected to submit is a part of the Black experience in the NFL. So if I had an artist to talk to and they wanted to paint the picture of the Black experience in the NFL, I wonder what they would paint. Would it be like the movie Him? Very graphic and gory and violent. Saying essentially you're giving up your soul to belong to something, right? And not just belong to something, but in the reality of the something you're trying to belong to was not made for you. And make sure you understand that you're temporary, not for long, right? That you're not valued in the most important position on the field, which is what Shedeur is. So let's take a listen to what he's saying, right? It said, the greatest lesson I've learned through it all is not to worry, but to lean on and trust God in every situation, even when I don't know what to do. I've learned that God will always guide me. I live stress-free because I know that. Remember, they would always wonder why he wasn't negatively affected, right? Peace is a gift. Bottom line, peace is a gift, and he has it, right? It's that I live stress-free because I know that no matter what, God has the final say over my life. That's huge. It's huge in a league that keeps trying to make players, regardless of race, feel like you have to be chosen. You have to want to be, we have to choose you for you to be worthy, which is not the case because we see that they're choosing based on preference. They're not choosing based on skill set. So it's definitely important that you have mindset that God has the last say over my life because then they can't control you. They can't control your mindset, control your mental health, control and push up on you anxiety, push up on you depression. When God says time to go, it's time to go. And if that's sooner than you think, you're going to be okay with it. And like I said, Justin Fields, he's not going to look back and ask, what if? He's going to look forward to his purpose. So we see Shedeur sharing God guiding his life, just like Travis got baptized. It was smart for Travis to get baptized, take it on this endeavor of the NFL because of the Black experience in the NFL, of being devalued, of the NFL having policies and practices, not even 5 years ago, that Black NFL players, which includes Travis, Justin Fields, Shadeur Sanders, even once upon a time, Coach Prime, have a lower cognitive functioning than the likes of Joe Burrow, Joe Flacco, Josh Allen, to the point where their CTE payments were being denied because the NFL said your brain is already starting out at a lower pace. So there's no need to pay you because there's no damage. You're already too low. You're too low for it to even be damaged. But they paid their white counterparts. You better submit your life to God if you come into this league because the Black experience is that it's intended to rob you of your Black self. It's intended to prey on Travis so people will think we can manipulate him and get him to say something bad about Coach Prime. It's supposed to be to the point where Shedeur is expected because he's a phenom at football. He's exceptional accuracy, but then he also carves up defenses. But because they lie and say he can't read defenses to try to justify Dylan, who's not an NFL quarterback at all on any level, to justify holding Shedeur back behind Dylan, they lie on Shedeur and say he can't read defenses. You know how frustrating it is for people to lie on you? This is why he has peace, because God has the last say. So shout out to all these young men, because what did I say? Y'all need to get in the group chat so y'all can all uplift each other. No need for the group chat because they all are starting to emerge on the same page. God has the last say, which means the NFL can't control them. So you can draft them, you can intend to destroy them, and they're going to see God's purpose for opening the door to come to a place that wasn't designed for them, that's designed to hurt them, that's designed to hold them back from greatness elsewhere or from starting their own. So they're all learning and emerging on the same page. God is leading me. So you can't. You can't hurt me. You can't control me. Because when God says time to go, it's time to go. They're hearing their own voices, meaning the NFL. The players are like, okay, God say that's it. That's the best gift that you could have, to make sure the Black experience in the NFL is what you want it to be and not what they want it to be. So Shadeur goes on to say, I am able to persevere through trials because I come from a family built on morals, values, and unshakable principles. Meaning Coach Prime is not going to lie on a player, right? He's not going to, because the player wants to leave Colorado, make sure his transcripts, his grades are negated to D's and F's to make his life harder. So we retaliate against you because you want to make a choice for yourself and leave. Coach Prime has morals. They have values. And he comes from that. I'm not going to sit up and think that I'm not worthy because that's what you say, because you trying to hurt me and you want to wreck my mental. No. He was shored up from a little kid. He didn't learn about God on draft day. Thankfully, he already gravitated towards God because of the dream he had before the draft. And that's what lets him know God got me. So when Coach Prime says it, it's not a cliche. He's seen evidence of it. So has Shedeur. It said, I had access to a lot. And maybe without my understanding, my understanding shaped my worldview. But I've realized that peace, purpose, and faith can't be bought. Can't buy it. Peace is a gift. It said they have to be built. It said true success is who you become while waiting on God's timing. God's pace protects what your purpose will one day require. Because the NFL isn't necessarily their purpose. Justin Fields sees that. Well, while I wait on God, I'm going to let people know how God has been good to me. Travis is in a situation where they insisted to go up and get him number 2, but only to not utilize him fully. And I'm sure that has to be frustrating. But turning his life over to God, something he's seen Coach Prime with the walk, allows him to live his life peacefully the way he wants to, rather than wait on them to do what's right by Travis. Same thing for Shedeur. Wait on the NFL to do what's right about Shedeur. Same thing with Justin Fields. We know what happened to him in Chicago. They don't want to talk about that. So this is a movement. This is akin to what I said they need, a group chat. They got something better than a group chat. Because a group chat, they could share their experiences and they could feel like this and discuss, have discourse privately. But this is even better, to have this discourse public. It's going to spread amongst the rest of the players because they're going to need it. Because you're not coming into this league to get generational wealth so you can do what you want to do. You're going to have to come into this league and do what God wants you to do, because God knows what they going to do to you. All the black quarterbacks before Shedeur, the black players before Travis, the black quarterbacks before Justin Fields, and now Quinshon Judkins. We got to pray for his health, right? I see him over there pivoting. We're going to talk about the pivot. I said they was dropping hits yesterday. They doing a about face. They pivoted. And Quinshon Judkins is going to be used like a workhorse until they switch over to Shedeur. And it might come sooner than the last 4 games. I believe that might have been part of the pivot. Because here's the thing. With a running back from the NFL dying and possibly having CTE, and his teammate from Tampa Bay also dying and confirmed after his brain was tested after his death that he had CTE from the same Buccaneers team, Quinshon Judkins' mom would be careful. So, and I think a lot of people are starting to realize that, like, oh, okay, so the only way you can win for your fan base is to use Quinshon Judkins excessively, right? Because if you thought you could get it done with the other running backs, you would have by now. So he has to be careful for his own self, right? Again, that's part of the black experience in the NFL. It said, so Shedeur did really good with this. The last part about true success is who you become while waiting on God's timing. It reminded me of something I'd actually thought about before where Shedeur was concerned. You know, it says a lot that a young man who was just happily going on his way to work at a place that his father wanted to work, and he writes a song called Perfect Timing. But then that song becomes the way for him to thrive in his black experience in the NFL. When he wrote the song Perfect Timing, I'm not going to tell you he knew this was going to happen. I doubt that he did. I doubt that he knew perfect timing was going to be utilized and become a part of a necessity of his life to try to survive the NFL. You could actually make a movie called Surviving the NFL right now. There's so much evidence out there. Shout out to Shedeur. But when you do something and you have no idea that in the future you're going to need that, you can say, God got me, because that guy holding you. So when you look back, you're like, whoa, I had no idea. Right. It just means God was there when he wrote the song. He just didn't know it. So shout out to Shadeur, shout out to Coach Prime, shout out to all the Black NFL players, whether they privately gravitate towards God. I hope they have the courage that Justin Fields has, that Shadeur has, that Coach Prime has, that Travis Hunter has, to speak up and turn their life over to God so God can help them thrive in this experience and sidestep the landmines that were planted for them. And if there's an artist out there that has painted what they believe is the Black experience, I'd love to hear about it. I'd love to see. I'd love to understand how you came at the art that you created, which is the Black experience in the NFL. So go check out the link in the chat. All right. So I put on the thumbnail. I said that, Shedeur is carving up defenses, meaning Shedeur is more than exceptional accuracy. Exceptional accuracy is great. But what is little talked about is Shedeur's ability to carve up a defense, right? That's one of we're going to listen to a video clip where someone is trying to assert or insinuate that, yes, Shedeur has exceptional accuracy, but reading defenses. So we're going to look into that. And then Shiloh. So I told y'all that Shiloh was speaking at Edwards Waters. He's doing like a broadcast for Edward Waters. It's HBCU in Jacksonville. He's going to be doing a virtual broadcast doing their homecoming, which is October 31st. Now, if like myself, if you up in the wee hours of the morning, I saw where Shiloh dropped his food tour, right? So Shiloh is on his food tour, which I love. And this stop was Arab food. And he was with, is it Yo-Yo? I think it's Yo-Yo, the player from Colorado. They fast friends when Shiloh was at Colorado. So they went on a food tour of what seems to be Yo-Yo must be Egyptian. So I think they said the food, they went to Arab restaurant, right? So it was great. Go watch it. Also doing good numbers. And I looked at his video when I think he was pretending to be Shedeur in Cleveland. I think it's like at 600,000, somewhere like that. ESPN posted a snippet of it. Other people posted a snippet from it that almost hit it 1 million views. So Shiloh is doing well in his lane. I've said to y'all that I wanted to find out. I wanted to see if I could get tickets to this thing. I think you have to be a student. I went onto the website, I think it's ew.edu. And then it looks like it's an intranet where you have to like / go to FTC, which is for the culture. So Edward Waters is bringing Shiloh in to talk about his legacy as well as his HBCU experience. And as you can see here on the screen, they said they've had, I guess the reaction to people trying to get tickets has exceeded expectations. So they only have a few left. So if you can go, or if you know somebody that can go, check it out. I would love to see what the broadcast looks like. Maybe he'll get a copy after it's all said and done. But it is October 31st. And apparently a lot of people at Edward Waters are excited to have Shiloh. Now, Shiloh is doing something that was unexpected, right? He thought, just like his brother, I'd be in the NFL right now. I'd be out here balling. I'd be on a team, whether it's a Tampa Bay or anybody else. He didn't see this coming, right? And this is what I mean by got to give you a new dream, right? Because that's what has happened with Shiloh. Now, maybe next year he'll get an opportunity. He still describes himself as an American football player. We don't know. I guess he still wants to play football. But instead of feeling down upon himself for not doing something that he was led to do for his whole life, he's walking into a new lane. And this new lane is what I talked about should happen. Coach Prime's family playbook, meaning Deion's family playbook should be rebooted. I think, honestly, I know Coach Prime has in January, February, March, somewhere in early 2026, Coach Prime has a documentary coming out on Netflix, right? I expect it to do well. And it likely maybe will touch on the draft and everything else that's happened, the battle with avoiding cancer, Shiloh, maybe with the NFL, maybe, a lot of things, Snow being born, etc. So I was thinking, right? Y'all know I'm a fan of the little one, of Snow. So I was like, I really think that Deion's family playbook should be rebooted to be called Coach Prime's family playbook, featuring Snow because he's the first, I think he's the first grandchild, right? So you follow all the lives of everybody where they are now. Shiloh on his new path. Shedeur technically in a holding pattern. We don't know if he have to switch lanes or if he'll continue to just move forward. We don't really know. But what I am seeing that we're going to talk about is a pivot from the Cleveland Browns. We're going to talk about that. But I don't know if the NFL itself will pivot. So the lane that Shiloh's walking in that he didn't anticipate, he's thriving in. And I think as he does more of this, I think he'll continue to make a name for himself and people will gravitate towards Shiloh for Shiloh, not for the NFL. Meaning you can do this without the NFL. With them having Deion's family playbook, growing up in an iconic family, they already had a reputation for the family life that we saw them. They need to go back to that. Honestly, I think they need to go back to that, whether she do in the NFL or not. What I'm saying is it shouldn't hinge on what happens to Shedeur. And they probably have already talked about this. But I look at the way I see like Snow. He has like, is it 17,000 YouTube followers? And they post him all the time. And the show was so iconic, right? That everybody knows who they are. And just like any other great show that people love, it's time for a reboot. It's time for a reboot with Coach Prime as a head coach, because when he did Deion's family playbook, I don't know if he ever knew he was going to be a college head coach, right? I don't even know, because I didn't really watch the show. I don't know if he was even a head coach at all. I don't know what he was doing when they made the show. But it's definitely time for a reboot. And the lane that Shiloh's currently in and where Shedeur currently is in his NFL experience. And then Coach Prime, now influential Power 5, Power 4 head coach, and Bucky, damn media empire by himself, right? Deandra having her first child, and then introducing Snow, people wondering what path he's going to end up on, because you can see he's musically inclined, plays the harmonica, his father, R&B artist, and then Deandra still has her own. I just saw her recently, she's still doing her own, like social media influencing. She's still on her path. And Bossy, I just saw her on TikTok. She was talking about stop coming to her page. She had a little song she was singing, like, if you come to my page talking bad about my family, I'm just gonna block you, etc. So she has her own. So I think it's time. I think it's time. DeAndrea, Bucky, Bossy, Shedeur, Shiloh. Did I leave anybody out? Oh, it's Snow. I know Snow for sure. And if I left anybody out, I apologize. Imagine the thumbnail with all of them being grown with Snow and then Coach Prime. And then we already see they life anyway, but you just put it all together. Just put it all together so I ain't got to watch it on TikTok, so I ain't got to watch it on Instagram, so I have to watch it on YouTube. Just put it all together, right? And just go into their lives, catch us up from when they were little, and then you grab the whole new audience. Because again, I wasn't a part of that audience. I just saw a few episodes, like the one that I remember when Shiloh tried to get a Porsche delivered to the house or something like that. And then the one where Shedeur was up, kind of went to a new school, and Coach Prime was encouraging him like that, right? And I do remember one where Miss Connie was babysitting them or watching them or something like that in the kitchen. That's about it. That's all I've seen. So it would be nice for them to go. They're such an iconic family. Like, everybody likes them. Like, everybody likes the Sanders family. The people that don't, they don't even like themselves. So I wouldn't even worry about that. It's time for Coach Prime's family playbook. It's time. And featuring Snow. We definitely need a healthy of snow, right? Watching him grow up, do the gymnastics, learn swim, and go to Disney. We're gonna watch this kid grow up like a lot of people who follow basketball watch. Is it Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade, their little daughter? People been watching her grow up, and she growing up right before people's eyes, right? So shout out to the Sanders family for being an iconic family, but at the same time, it's time to get on with Coach Pride's family playbook or Deion's family playbook, the reboot. Y'all let me know what y'all think about that, but they definitely need to do it. And again, I don't know what's going to really happen with Shedeur. If you ask me, he gonna be traded to Pittsburgh. He gonna be traded to Pittsburgh. And somebody asked, they said, do you think that Shedeur will end up in Miami because Shiloh was house hunting in Miami and he was trying to make sure there was room for Shedeur? I don't know. Miami is just as in shambles front office like Tennessee and the Browns. So I don't know. But something about Pittsburgh, I think it's because, see, Pittsburgh was going to get Shedeur at number 21. And what I see getting ready to happen to Shedeur by way of the pivot, not the show, but I see them making a turn towards Shedeur. And they're making it fast because I'm telling you, this Patriots game, what did I say yesterday? I have a feeling we might see Shedeur in this game. So I see them making a pivot. And it looks like the excuse is we trade him to Pittsburgh where he was supposed to go number 21 and they wanted him to be QB2. And their way out of this is, oops, my bad. And I'm sure there's going to have to be some type of compensation or some remedy to what being devalued in the draft, because understand the Browns were going to take him at number 2, and that's $46 million worth of money. And they say they got him at a deep discount, and they're documented saying that the quarterback position is the most important position, right? So why is it that Quinshon Judkins has to turn into a workhorse? Because you have your franchise QB riding away on the bench. See, that's a problem right there. And that explains the pivot. And the photo that you see on your screen is part of that pivot. I said it yesterday. It's marketing and PR. It's not a coincidence that Rizzo said it at the same time that this is happening. You see these kids behind him. And then there's a video that was posted with the people sitting behind the sideline, like in the first seats behind the sideline, all were chanting, "We want Shedeur," or "Put in Shedeur," right? So all of this is happening at the same time. When the Miami Dolphins are saying, they like their head coach. And if the fans, stop playing for the coach, and if the players stop playing and the fans kind of, I guess, took out, that they'll put them in. You don't think that the Browns knew that that's the same thing that they doing? So they're now backing away from Dylan without saying it out loud that you're not good enough, but you can't get it done for us. But they knew that. That's the part they don't want to say out loud. They knew Dylan couldn't get it done for them. Remember, he was an undrafted free agent that they overpaid. Just like Tyler Shaw. These are 2 wasted draft picks. And it's not lost on me that Tua is blocking and protected, and Dylan is blocking and protected. 2 quarterbacks that should have been drafted much higher, if not first round for Shedeur, and maybe late first round, high second round. In other words, I think there are people that believe that knew that Shedeur should have been after Cam, and that Quinn Ewers should have been after Shedeur. And Tua and Dylan are blocking Quinn Ewers and Shedeur. You see how they getting protection? Well, I don't know what's going to happen in Miami. They say they still rolling with Tua, but this picture right here is part of the pivot. That is part of the narrative that's being pushed today. So take a listen to what's being said. So these are just fans that like Shedeur, screaming on the sideline for Shedeur, etc. But what I'm hearing today is it furthers the narrative with the kids standing behind, has them regardless of who they are. He know they there. He know they with him. the 12 jersey. Rizzo saying Shedeur is going to play 4 games. Today, it's being said Shedeur is going to play after the bye week. When is the bye week? Does anybody know when the bye week is? So if Shedeur is playing after the bye week, I think the bye week is after the Patriots game. That means that Shedeur will play the Jets, will play the teams that are not that good. So basically, it seems like they're trying to pivot to give Dylan one more game, and that's the Patriots. That's crazy to me, but it's like what I said. I don't think they really like Dylan like that. I think they using Dylan to block Shedeur because now, listen to this. Listen to this. This is why I say that there's a pivot happening.
Look good. They're not going to give up on him too quickly. And that would probably open up a can of worms for them if they start throwing Shedeur in there, even in spot duty right now. So I'm not really feeling that or really seeing it. But
all right. Now, let's talk about these games that split up. 10 games left, 5 for Shedeur, 5 for Dylan. I thought about it overnight. I said, if that's what's happening, meaning you just going to take the last 10 games and split them up, you're not trying to win. There's no strategy to win. But what did she say? This Mary Cabot, what did she say at the beginning? It's not going to look good for them to start putting Shedeur in, even on a spot basis. So you're not trying to win. You're trying to save face. See, there's a pivot happening. And while they're pivoting, they're trying to save face. What are you trying to save face from? That Dylan really wasn't better than Shedeur? So she's all but telling you that they split up the games. It's not about winning. We got to let Dylan play because it's not going to look good for franchise if we just put Shedeur in. That's what the backup quarterback is supposed to be. On every other team, the backup quarterback just gets in and stays ready. How is it not going to look good for the franchise to put in the backup quarterback? This is what I mean by these people are not trying to win. If you're trying to win, you don't just take the roster and take the schedule and split it the last 10 games and you play. This is not a participation league. People are paying tens of thousands of dollars to come watch a competitive sport, and she is telling you it is not competitive. Mary Cabot, is telling you that these games that they're playing is about protecting the franchise, which is making things worse. She's talking about it's going to open up a can of worms to put Shedeur in. You're supposed to put the backup in. In my opinion, her statements and what we getting ready to hear is a can of worms that is open. Keep listening. I'm going to start it over.
Look good. They're not going to give up on him too quickly. And probably open up a can of worms for them if they start throwing Shedeur in there, even in spot duty right now. So I'm not really feeling that or really seeing it. But I will say this. In practice, Shadeur Sanders has been making a ton of progress. He looks
okay. This is where the sale comes in. This is what they trying to sell you. Remember what they said. He's not that good. He was devalued because his skill set was a retro style QB. So they paid Flacco the same money they paid Shedeur, who they were going to pay $46 million. But now they're helping to develop him when we know for a fact that that's not true. So keep listening.
It's really good. I've been saying this over and over again. If you put Shedeur and Dillon Gabriel side by side or one after the other in a 7-on-7 red zone drill, I think that Shedeur would probably win that drill much of the time.
You don't say. We knew that when training camp ended. How did we know that? Because they kept tracking it. The tracker told us Shedeur was better than Dillon. The tracker was based on performance in training camp. So this is the pivot, ladies and gentlemen. This is a pivot. This right here is the cusp of a pivot toward Shadeur Sanders as the quarterback. How many times did you hear this woman say Shedeur could not play ahead of Dillon because Dillon was a 3rd round pick and Shedeur was a 5th round pick? I guess that don't matter no more. Now we're pivoting to talent. But they held him back all summer because of his draft position. But now we're pivoting to talent. I wonder why. Because you're going to lose the rest of the season. And if you lose with Shedeur right there on the bench, that is all sorts of kind of malpractice. That is also discrimination. It is also collusion. And it is definitely racketeering. Understand that these people are not just trying to dodge a collusion charge. They are trying to dodge something more serious, like racketeering.
Or if you put them up against each other in a pockets drill where you're throwing the ball into the little pockets in the net, I think Shedeur would win that a lot of the time. But
so Shedeur is winning everything now. See, talent matters now. He won the summer 3 times, but it didn't matter, right? It didn't matter. And then he was set up by Stefanski for the Rams, but now he's making so much progress that we feel comfortable to say he's better than Dillon. That lie right there is what's going to sink this franchise. Understand that. You're not convincing nobody. Shedeur wasn't good to go when he got there. Did they forget the Panthers games existed? We know Shedeur was set up by Stefanski. That's why this lie right here that Shedeur is developing when Stefanski set him up is what's going to sink this organization.
There are so many other things that you have to do. You have to be able to protect yourself. You have to be able to read the defense. You have to be able to call the play, slide the protections, manage.
Okay, nobody ever said Shedeur couldn't call plays. Nobody ever said Shedeur couldn't read defenses. So my question to y'all is, and I'm going to run it back just a little bit. Do y'all feel like she's insinuating that, yes, Shedeur can get the ball out, this, that, and the other, but you have to be able to read the defenses. You have to be able to call the plays. We're going to finish it and we're going to come back. But just keep that in mind.
The motions and do all those things. He's coming up the learning curve very, very quickly and very well on all of that. The reviews I'm hearing from inside the building are really, really good on Shedeur's progress right now.
Okay, so earlier this summer, he couldn't learn. He didn't have the cerebral skill set. See, earlier when he got drafted, his skill set was outdated. Then when they got to rookie minicamp and he balled out, then the narrative switched to he can't read plays. Now he's learned. When did he learn? Did he learn with the scout team? Did he learn with the first team? Are they learning the same plays? Like, you know what I'm saying? So why all of a sudden he couldn't learn? And she even mentioned something about the cerebral aspect of Shedeur wasn't there, which is why she had to take his kind of content private, right? But now suddenly his brain has the capacity to learn the plays. Do you see what's happening here? This is a pivot. And it's not just a pivot so he can get out there and play. It's the pivot about the philosophy of why he was being held back.
But I think they still want to give Dillon some time. Now he's got to make some points out there. He's got to produce and generate some touchdown passes. But for now, I think the status quo will be maintained.
All right. So Dillon has us going. So now the organization is trying to pivot away from Dillon because if he played with the Patriots, I think everybody knows the Patriots game is not going to be easy. And if he didn't score no points against Miami, I don't know how the hell he going to score points against the Patriots unless the Patriots help him out, which is not out of the question because Philly, right? And hell, Philly done helped out the Browns and Philly done helped out the Giants. But see, here's what happens. Once the team helps and moves on, they got to play somebody else. So Miami helped. The refs helped Dillon. Well, now they got to play the Patriots. Right? So I'm going to let this go back from the beginning. And I'm going to just let it play. I'm not going to interject. Shedeur is good. Because when I heard her, she's actually lying on him. She's lying on him. And she, in my opinion, she's insinuating he couldn't learn, but now he can learn. He couldn't learn the plays, but now he can learn. The reason they said he couldn't learn is because black quarterbacks can't lead. Black quarterbacks can't comprehend. Black quarterbacks have a lower cognitive functioning than white people. They were asserting race norming in the Cleveland Browns organization against Shadeur Sanders to hold him back. And now he can learn. But they're lying and insinuating that he can't read defenses. We knew he could read defenses before he left Colorado. So they're pivoting, not just so he could play, but so they could cover their own AZZ. This is why suits, ladies and gentlemen.
Look good. They're not going to give up on him too quickly. And that would probably open up a can of worms for them if they start throwing Shedeur in there, even in spot duty right now. So I'm not really feeling that or really seeing it. But I will say this. In practice, Shadeur Sanders has been making a ton of progress. He looks really good. I've been saying this over and over again. If you put Shedeur and Dylan Gabriel side by side or one after the other in a 7-on-7 red zone drill, I think that Shedeur would probably win that drill much of the time. Or if you put them up against each other in a pockets drill where you're throwing the ball into the little pockets in the net, I think Shedeur would win that a lot of the time. But there are so many other things that you have to do. You have to be able to protect yourself. You have to be able to read the defense. You have to be able to call the play, slide the protections, manage the motions, and do all those things. He's coming up the learning curve very, very quickly. And
I'm going to stop it right there. You see, they lying on the kid. You see, this is the lie. I'm telling you, that's going to sink this organization. Do you hear what she is saying? He has to be able to learn to protect himself. Why? When can he not protect himself? When Stefanski set him up with the Goon Squad? Because we saw him protect himself with the Browns. Protect yourself, and instead of throwing a deep ball, you have an O-line that is sorry, so you need to be a game manager and check down, check down, check down. That's how he has to protect himself. You have to recognize that your O-line is incompetent because they didn't draft nobody. I'm telling you, her talking and what she's saying is what's going to sink this organization. I see him trying to pivot. They're not trying to pivot so he can get out there and play so they can make money. They trying to cover their own butt because in the summer, they said he couldn't learn because people have pointed out that Stefanski acts like he has a personal grievance against Shedeur because they weren't developing Shedeur. Because what did Troy Aikman say? The Browns have a franchise QB riding on the bench. So now I sent her out here to tell you why he was riding on the bench, because he can't learn. But now he done made a ton of progress. But the things that she's saying he had to learn, he already knew. And the Cleveland Browns even said the sacks that Shedeur took, a lot of it was environmental. So you can't hold that against him and say he don't know how to protect himself. At the same time, she delivering this spin right here, this pivot right here. Other people are saying, now Shedeur is going to play after the bye week. By tomorrow, he's going to be playing in a Patriots game. Like I said. Because she's saying they can't put in Shedeur because they going to get into some hot water, open up a can of worms. They going to end up open up a can of worms because Shedeur is your backup quarterback. Do the Browns really have time, if winning is the goal, to be out here worried about Dylan's damn feelings? To give him more time to do what? Give him more time to do what? He already scored one touchdown against what? The Green Bay Packers or something? Give him more time for what? They already say he's not going to be the guy next year. What are we giving him time to do? It's conversations like this that's going to take down this organization, and they think they put it on Shedeur by saying he needs to learn how to carve defenses. Lying on this kid, because that's what she's doing. She knows that Shedeur is a good quarterback. Lying on this kid is what's going to take this organization down. No need to lie. If you didn't want him, don't draft him. But to say his skill set is outdated is a damn lie. When you go get Flacco, or when Josh Allen is being converted to exactly what Shedeur is, a so-called pocket passer with mobility. It's lies like this that's going to take the NFL down. So when I say the NFL is in shambles, it's because of pivots like this. Nobody's dumb. I don't know who it is that they think are dumb. I don't know who they sent her to tell this to. And maybe there's some people out there that believe he's truly not a good quarterback, but I doubt it. Because the people that say Shedeur is not a good quarterback don't want to see black quarterbacks succeed at the helm of any NFL team unless they can digest the level of melanin in their skin. And that's what it is. So it's lies like this. This is the kind of defamation this kid has had to endure. So you see why it's important for him to know that God has the final say. Because I don't know how you put up with this every day. I don't know how you put up with somebody lying on your skill set. I damn sure don't know how you put up with somebody who was going to hire you for $46 million. And then when they get you for $4 million, they lying on you and saying you're not good. You already devalue me money-wise. So now you're trying to break me down mentally. Thank God you can't break me spiritually. This is a bold-faced lie that Mary Cabot is telling, and I will tell her to her face. This is a bold-faced lie. He's coming along. He was good from day one. He just had to learn the plays. This is shameful. It is shameful to sit up here and want to pivot to this young man because the guy you put in front of him to hold him back is exactly who you thought he was. And you lied on Shedeur the whole way. And you set him up once in the Panthers game to get hurt and again in the Rams game to be humiliated. This is what defamation looks like. So yeah, they're pivoting to cover themselves. And somebody pointed out that Shedeur playing the last 4 games, come rain or shine, or hell, after the bye week, playing the last 4 games ensures that he'll play through what could be the worst weather of the season. So I took a look at the 2024 games, the last 4 games. It was like Baltimore and some other teams. But honestly, it was just cold. It wasn't snowing. It might have been a little windy. The guys had their hands in their pocket fillers and muffler thingies. But there was no snow. It was sunny. So I was thinking Colorado. If it, that's what it was given, right? I know there was one game that Jameis Winston played in the snow. I don't know when it was, but I think it was the Bengals for sure in Baltimore at the end of the 2024 schedule that were home games. And from what I saw, it was given Colorado cold, sunny, and possibly windy. So yeah, he has the hardest stretch if it's the last 4. He also has potentially bad weather to overcome as well. So are they doing him a favor by putting him out there last? No, they have to play him. They're not doing him any favors. Now, if he pops up in this Patriots game and she insists that they would open up a can of worms, I don't know how you open up a can of worms when you put your backup in. And it tells you that they having conversations because I said it last week. How is it every other backup could get out here and play but Shedeur? Oh, we're going to open up a can of worms. And what exactly is the label on the can of worms? You opening up a can of worms by telling us that. Because we wondered why the hell it is he the only backup that can't play. So you intentionally restricting his movement. You're intentionally losing games. You're intentionally going to use Quishon Junkins as a workhorse because you don't want to go to Shedeur because you don't want to open up a can of worms. Thank you for that. Because now you want to know what's in the can of worms. So shout out to these young men for being able to gravitate towards God and let God lead, because see, now it takes away the ability for the NFL to disrupt the Black experience in the NFL because you can't control me. And I don't think they like that. I think this is precisely why Justin Fields is getting so much flack. They want him to be in shambles and cry. He like, hey, if this is God's will for me, this is what it is. And here's the thing, right? Tyrod Taylor actually deserves to start. Because what did they do to him? They punctured his lung so he could lose the starting job to Justin Herbert. And he's suing the league currently behind that right now, or the NFL or the Chargers. And the doctor reportedly still works there. It's interesting they weren't concerned about the doctor puncturing anybody else's lung but Tyrod Taylor's. He deserves to play, just like Spencer Rattler deserves to start. That's who deserves to start. the people who were robbed of starting, just like Shedeur. So they're not doing Shedeur any favors by having him to play 4 games. He has to play 4 games, or he has to play a certain number of games. But don't be surprised if we see him in the Patriots game to come save Dylan. But I'm starting to think they just gonna let Dylan drown. That's what this photo is giving. I think they're gonna let him drown. Him and Tua. So that's what it is, guys. All right. So, let me know your thoughts about Coach Prime's family playbook, which would be a reboot of Deion's family playbook. Let me know if anybody can find out about Shiloh's virtual broadcast or broadcast for Edward Waters' October 31st homecoming. Shout out to Shiloh for doing that. I wish he's more involved with Jackson State too. Jackson State is actually doing really well with their branding. I post a lot about them in my stories. I feel like they're using the blueprint that Coach Prime left behind, and they really coming on strong, with their branding. So shout out to Jackson State. They even got content creators on the sideline, and I was hoping Shiloh could be one of those. Maybe he go to the Celebration Bowl or he go to the SWAC Championship. But I think it would be good for Shiloh to plug in with Jackson State. So I hope it's in the works. And don't forget, before I hop over to the comments, I changed it from game day to game night. I scheduled the Colorado Buffs virtual watch party for Saturday night. The game starts at 10:15 p.m. So wear your pajamas because I'm wearing mine. So it's going to be a late one. I already scheduled it. Look for the notifications. And it's Colorado versus Utah. We just going to make a good time of it with the virtual watch party. And just, while the game is actually live. So that's Saturday night. All right, let me hop over here to the comments and see what y'all are thinking about all of this. Some people also told me in the comments they think Shedeur gonna get traded before he play. I'm like, I don't know. Because now, just a few hours ago, they're starting to say coming out of Cleveland, he could actually play before they even get to the last 4 games. To the I guess after the bye week, which is what, next week? Yeah, this Halloween is upon us, I think. It says, hey everybody, hi everybody. It said Dylan is a competitor, not an entertainer, diabolical competitor. All right, JV football. I will give him somewhere around JV football. Dylan is not a NFL quarterback. If you need the refs to bail you out and you still don't score and they have to help you negate those interceptions, you're not an NFL quarterback. And why are we taking people and using them to block somebody else? That has to also hurt. That you don't believe in me. You're going to put me out here and let me drown. They let him drown with 52 passes and no touchdowns because now everybody know he's not good. And then they get ready to play the Patriots. So are you not putting Shedeur in the game because you don't want to save me? Because I have no idea he's going to pull this game off against the Patriots, who are 5-2. And they 2-5. This game, there's an agenda for this game. And I guess we're going to see when it unfolds. We going to see. But, they saying they don't want to open up a can of worms. They telling on themselves. They saying they intentionally restricted Shadeur's movement because something else is going on. That's why I want to know what's in the can of worms now. It said, stay grounded and in your word, little brother. Yep. Shadeur's, when I saw him put that out there, I said, amen, Shedeur, you get it. And I said, Shedeur has to get to a point where he knows that the draft was not about his father, right? They can't make him shake his relationship with his father because they want to scapegoat Coach Prime, because they want to hurt Colorado's program. I've said it multiple times. Colorado should take action against the NFL for trying to hurt the damn program, because what the hell are you doing, right? Why are you hurting our program? Because it's supposed to send a message to all schools If you hire a black head coach, we're going to hurt your program. Just like it's sending a message, if you have a black quarterback, we're going to hurt your program. Because ultimately, the NFL wants to control what goes on in college so they don't have to put themselves in a legal situation where they do to somebody else what they did to Shedeur, which is why you saw Lenore Sellers get concussed. And I sure hope his family look into that. Hopefully, no more black people coming to the NFL have this ridiculous thought that what happened to Shedeur is specific to Shedeur. It is not. Know your black quarterback history and move accordingly. Because that's what y'all was thinking. I know it was. It is not. It said former TB Bucks player Doug Martin got expired in police custody. Yep. We talked about that yesterday, and I pointed out that another one of his teammates had CTE. So apparently something about the diagnosis can't be confirmed until after you pass, where they have to study your brain, which is kind of crazy. But it looks like there may have been around that time multiple players with CTE in the Tampa Bay Bucks. So when you start seeing these players, about these former NFL players in these weird situations, there's a good likelihood that that's what's happening there. And if you notice, did the NFL talk about it? Did they talk about Kyrie Lacey? All right. It said it seems like the NFL tries to punish players who have a strong faith in God. That's what it seems like to me. And that's why I said about Justin. Good job, Justin, speaking up. And people were like, yeah, but not right now. I'm like, no, this is a violent sport. Why wouldn't you have guys to drive? That's what you're supposed to do. And that's what's going to save a lot of these guys. Because when they get kicked out the league, when they get cut, when they get treated unfairly, a lot of them internalize it. What did the guy say when he had a head coach that wasn't talking to him? He was trying to cope, partying, etc. That's what they want you to do. So you can get the hell on faster. They want you to crash out. They wanted Shedeur to crash out. They wanted him to want to play so bad that they use words like he's starving to play. He ain't starving to play. He said it. I got time. But that's what they wanted. They want you to be salivating to play, that you're willing to do anything. I truly believe those days are gone. I know it's still a few out there, but you see, Travis Hunter ain't one of them. I don't think any of our players are, to be honest. As meager of the means as Travis came from, he's still not one of them. He's not willing to sell his soul. I told y'all I could see Travis in and out with 4 years. I also said I could see CJ Stroud, his contract is supposed to be renewed. I could see him going, don't worry about it. Because see, they think they're going to hurt CJ Stroud by sending him somewhere like the Cleveland to devalue him for another 5 years so he's sitting on a bench and have his feelings hurt. I'll be like, look, if I made $230 million, I'm straight. Peace out. I don't care. It could be 50. That's what these guys are going to have to start understanding. Get in 4 years, get out. And that's why some of them, the quarterbacks like DTR, he didn't even make it to 3 years. They cut him in 2. And that's what they're going to try to do to Shedeur. But Shedeur got 4 million fans. And that's not a coincidence. Exposing Cleveland was not a coincidence. That wasn't his intent, but that's what's coming. Rest in peace, Vincent Jackson. Who's Vincent Jackson? It said, just getting here. How's everybody doing? It said, Dylan described Quinshon Judkins as a workhorse when saying how good Quinshon Judkins played. Is that good, or am I reading too much of it? No, because that's just the word I use, and that's not what it should be. That's the problem. That's what. It's not a coincidence Doug Martin passed away. He was a running back. His family said he got CTE, and I figured out that his teammate actually did die of CTE, and Quinshon Judkins is about to be used as a workhorse. No, that's not a coincidence at all. You're supposed to learn from this. You're supposed to, as you're a running back in the NFL, who they like to devalue in salary, you're supposed to learn from what happened to Doug Martin and his teammate that played for the for the Tampa Bay Bucks, and sit down and look at who else died from CTE. That's what you're supposed to do. Me using the word workhorse for Quinshon Judkins is not a compliment at all. It means they're going to use him up to save Dylan, who doesn't deserve to be saved because he's not a damn NFL quarterback. And it's not right to do that to Quinshon Judkins. Dylan's life isn't worth any more to Quinshon Judkins. And that's what I mean by the black experience in the NFL. This is exactly what I'm talking about. No, it's not a good term. It's not a good term. Not in this context. It says, and one of the things about the NFL, when I said that they drafted Ashton Jeanty in the first round, that's a rarity. They don't typically draft running backs in the first round because they devalue running backs. They don't value running backs. They claim they get hurt all the time. How many times have you heard them talk about the propensity for CTE being greater? You don't hear about that, do you? But all you hear is they want to probably use Quinshon Judkins excessively so they can win to shut their fans up and save Dylan. I don't like that. And he shouldn't like it either. They already tried to cheat him out of his guaranteed contract. And he ought to wonder where that damn case came from. It says Shiloh has no filter. He will be okay. Yeah, Shiloh's good. You would say he have no filter. You talking about in the tour with Yo-Yo? Yeah, Shiloh is funny. He just gonna say whatever. he just gonna say whatever. But it was good. I'm glad to see him, branching out into different cultures of food. I thought it was funny when Yo-Yo said he tired of mac and cheese and the chicken and this kind of stuff. I was like, what? You tired of soul food? But he said that was his first time eating Arab food. I was like, what? I guess I thought he had already, found the spot. But maybe because they have meal plans or something like that. It said now anybody can get tickets, not just students. Okay, so maybe I can get a ticket. Thank you for letting me know. It said I used to use the term workhorse when Ezekiel Elliott played for the Cowboys. Mm-hmm. It said you and your channel, Auntie Baby. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Wop wop. Welcome. It says Shedeur will Super Bowl this year. QB1. I don't know about all that. I don't even know if God wants that. The Cleveland Browns are not deserving. That's one thing about it. Hey, Valerie, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? It said, let's focus on the division first. Right. Hell, I don't know why the fans even talking about that. If you just going to take the last 10 games and go, here, Dylan, you get 5, and Shedeur, you get 5, and you don't push Shedeur in because it's going to open up a can of worms, you ain't trying to win the division either. You just trying to finish the season. And I said that was the goal from the beginning. Just get through the season. They both are getting looks to be traded. But if they can't put Shedeur in, right? If they can't put him in, because it's going to open up a can of worms, his movement is restricted. And if movement is restricted right now and has been since draft day, and they knew about it before the draft, his movement will be restricted to his next team, which I say is the Pittsburgh Steelers, because I got to get myself out of this mess at some point. So let me send him to Pittsburgh, where he was actually going to be drafted before there were these phone calls. And then we just get to say, oops, my bad, because we're making it right by sending you to Pittsburgh. But is the money right? Oh, you could get it on your next contract. We'll see. We'll see. Because we already seen the Browns pivot. How long before we see the NFL pivot? Well, maybe we already saw the NFL pivot because they did let Bucky film. Now, I didn't see Bucky on the field like I did when he filmed for like the Jags in Carolina. I didn't see that part, but they did allow him access. So that's a step for Cleveland, but it's also happening at the same time that has them with the 12 jersey. Rizzo saying Shedeur going to play. I think Shedeur knew by this point that he would play in the last 4 games. Now, 24 hours later, he could play after the bye week, and sound like they're just gonna turn over the last few games to him, and maybe they're gonna mix them up. I don't know what the hell they're gonna do, but they over there trying to figure it out. That's the point. And they making moves, but they telling on themselves. Hey Isaiah, how you doing? How you doing? It said Deion family playbook reboot would be lovely to see again. Yeah. So shout out to anybody in Coach Prime's family, the Sanders family. We need a reboot of Deion's family playbook. We find if you call it that 2.0, or Coach Prime's family playbook. That's what I think it should be called, because he's Coach Prime now, and that goes into his work. That goes into all of the kids and what they do, and then with Snow. So I think he had a school. Oh, you think when Deion's family playbook was out, he had Truth Academy? Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Mother Trucking. How you doing? Hit the like button, everybody. Raising Gracie. Okay. It says Shiloh will be okay. Yeah, I think Shiloh will be fine. I think he'll be fine. Kane Bishop said 2 weeks. Okay. So November 2nd, that's the bye week y'all are talking about. Okay. So that means they want to if they let Dylan go out here on his own with the Patriots and it's just bad, they trying to let him drive. They ruined his draft stock. But I have a feeling they gonna put it all on Quinshon Judkins. So that's what I think. And the crazy part is Dylan know he's not better than Shedeur. That's why people don't like him, because he know he's not better than Shedeur. He know he in a group project and he not doing the work. It said Haslam, Cleveland Browns owner, is never getting rid of Shedeur. The city just approved his new stadium. He knows what he's doing. Yo, okay. Yeah, okay. Because I don't see a world where Shadeur Sanders and Arch Manning coexist. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. And from where I sit over here in Atlanta, all of the teams that Shadeur could have went to, the Saints, the Giants, and the Cleveland Browns, have all blocked Shadeur Sanders. And the man is associated with every last one of them, including the Browns. It said you have to see Coach Prime reading Jack and Jill. Oh, Lord, I haven't seen that. Is he reading Jack and Jill to Snow? That's hilarious. It said Dylan understands his position, though. He's more than willing to be a wedge in between Shedeur and the starting spot. That's what camps develop, sleeper agents. Dylan, a millionaire now. Yeah. But that's why I think people don't like him, because he's a willing participant. Like somebody said to me early in the comments that Stefanski is doing what he's told. I'm like, exactly. But he's taking pleasure in trying to destroy Shedeur's career. Now, I see where they're trying to hang Dylan out to dry, and this Patriots game is going to say a lot, right? What they doing with Stefanski? Because here's the thing, right? You could put it on Dylan, and like Cabot said, Shedeur is better than Dylan. Okay, so why Stefanski don't know that? I ain't heard him say that. So how you gonna backpedal from him and his misdeeds? I already see you trying to say Shedeur is better than Dylan, but you still lying on Shedeur at the same time. But you told on yourself by saying, it's gonna open up a can of worms if Shedeur even just get in to spot play, which is crazy, because that's what backups do. So they tell you something else is going on over there. So they're gonna have to push somebody off the island. Is it gonna be Dylan? The Patriots game will answer that question. Or is it gonna be Dylan and Stefanski? Stay tuned. Valerie said those were Haslam's grandchildren in the 12 jerseys. That's what people keep saying, but me, myself, and a few other people know that Haslam grandkids have blonde hair, so I don't know. I say that's somebody else's kids, but I really don't care. I don't think that's his grandkids. I think that's somebody else's kids that he brought down there to the field with him, and he knew what he was doing because he saw what they had on and decided to go down to the field with them. And it's not a coincidence that Rizzo, Shedeur the last 4 games, now Mary Cabot. Shedeur, I can say he's better than Dylan, but blah, blah, blah. And now you have Shedeur made play after the bye week. Yeah, not a coincidence. He know what he's doing. And it ain't, I'm not going to tell you it's about keeping Shedeur. And if it is, it's called bait and switch. And he's still not off the hook. There's no way out. There's nowhere to hide, because you were supposed to get this young man at $46 million, and you say you got him for a deep discount, which means that his value was higher. And Andrew Berry said Shedeur will outproduce his draft stock. So he's better than a 5th round QB, which is why you let him compete, number one. But y'all let Stefanski ignore him and not use the competition the right way. You weaponize the competition against the best player. And now Shadeur is better than Deion because he's been learning after he wasn't cerebral and can't learn. Yeah, okay. I see all through that. And so do a lot of other people. So they might have to move off of Shedeur just to keep the heat off their back. It say, hello. Curious if you heard UCSS say Shedeur don't sit next to Dillon Gabriel on the sidelines and learn. It said, I can't stand these negative narratives. What? Why would I care where Shedeur sit? Why is Dillon on the sideline? That's a better question. Isn't he supposed to be out there playing? I don't listen to the Cleveland podcasters. I only listen to Rizzo because y'all sent me the link about the grandkids. And I heard him say about the 4. Matter of fact, I had it on. I was doing other stuff. I got what y'all told me about, and I kept it pushing. Nope. Not falling back into the web of deceit. Absolutely not. They just want access to the players as the media. They want access to the field. They want to be able to say they associated with the Cleveland Browns. Forget them. They need to go back into irrelevancy. That's why I don't see them winning no Super Bowl. It can happen though, but I don't see it. They wasn't trying to win from the jump street. They had Flacco on the roster from the beginning and messed up this QB battle. Right. So that's it. They weren't trying to win. So what they trying to do now? Because if you weren't trying to win, you was content with Flacco losing until he got benched and got the hell out of there. Then now Dillon, seems like when it comes to Dillon, they trying to switch it up. But they was content when it wasn't winning with Flacco. Not sure, but they pivoted fast. Stay tuned to tomorrow's narrative because as of tonight, Shedeur could play after the bye week. I'm waiting to hear if Shedeur gonna hop in the Patriots game because that's what I'm thinking. And honestly, it should be Shedeur and Quinshon Judkins versus the Patriots. And you know what? They probably could win with that defense, and that's why he's not playing. There are people who want Drake May to get to the next level. Just like there are people that want Daniel Jones, they want them to duke it out. That's what they want. They want Drake May. You notice they don't talk about Josh Allen anymore. They want Drake May and Daniel Jones to go for whatever I don't know what conference they in. Whatever conference they in. You know how they have that championship game? That's who they want to pop up. So if I put Shedeur in after the bye week, I knew I could put in Shedeur against the Patriots. And I know Shedeur, Quinshon, and the defense and the receivers can't get it done. I don't want that. Just like I didn't want the Browns to lose to Miami. I want that. So stay tuned for tomorrow's narrative. Tell me if you agree. Here's the question. Do you believe that if Shedeur started for the Patriots, Quinshon Judkins, running back 1, Shadeur Sanders, QB 1, wide receivers are wide receivers. With Gage, put him in there too. Isaiah Bond, put him in there too. And the defense, could they beat the Patriots? Yes, they could. They don't want that. Maybe that's what's in the can of worms. Tell me I'm wrong. I bet they could. It said one of those channels has someone on there saying Dillon was better than Cam Ward. What the hell? But you know what? I don't know why they using Dillon and Tua like a doorstop. I really don't. People say, I don't know what Tua's contract looked like, but they said his contract was truly unjustified. I said, excuse me, you know who else contract was unjustified? Trevor Lawrence. So if you want to rag on Tua, I'm gonna need you to rag on Trevor Lawrence. And by no means am I taking up for Tua because he's not good. I think Quinn Ewers is better than Tua. I think Quinn Ewers should have been drafted after Shedeur. Absolutely. I bet they would have won the 2 to 3 and Milroe was the 4. And you don't hear nothing about him. Shedeur is the only backup quarterback that can't play because it's going to open a can of worms. Now, you tell me if that's not hiding some type of corruption. That's what it is pointing towards, corruption. Oh, something happened with Selmo. They said congratulations. I don't know what it is. Let me see if I can quickly find out. Well, it said just got with the electrical contractor to build the Brown Stadium. Oh, good. Oh, shout out to Selmo. So he gonna be on the contract for the Brown Stadium. Yay! All right, we like that part. We like that part for you. Shout out to you, Selmo. Congratulations, and send us some site photos when you can. Because if Arch Manning not coming out of school next year, Shedeur might be right there in Cleveland. Even though I vote for Pittsburgh, but you know, hey, y'all. So show Selmo some love. He's in Cleveland or Cleveland Browns fan. He is now going to be a contractor or a subcontractor to work with I guess the build out of the new Brown Stadium, which is expected to be finished. Is it 2029? Right around the time Trevor Lawrence's contract expires. They did say Shedeur was going to end up down there in Jacksonville. Maybe that's how it happened. Trevor get to play in the new stadium. I don't know. But shout out to you, Selmo. That's awesome. I'm happy for you. It said the Browns control the narrative about Shedeur. They said all year he's not ready. Now he's looking great. That means you'll be starting very soon. I always said it's a movie. Yeah, it's a movie based on fraud. That's what it's like. It is a movie, but it's also corrupt. And we can't let that go. Hey, Valerie, why are you laughing? It said also just got done listening again to the college head coaches praising Shedeur's approach to the game. They don't care to win. No, they don't care to win. No, they don't. They don't care to win. And I don't know what all this pivoting about is coming about. I'm not shocked about the last 4 games, but the latest conversation about Shedeur playing before the bye week is part of the pivot that you see with this photo here. So something going on. So we'll see what tomorrow's narrative is. It said, leave Shedeur alone as he moves forward to greatness. Let Dilly play the entire game of New England. I think that's what's going to happen. I personally don't think that the Browns want to win this game. I said it yesterday. I said, these owners are supposed to be competing. But what it seems to be is they tell each other how much you can't pay your quarterback this much because this quarterback going to want that, which is collusion, right? I also think part of the collusion is before the season starts, right? Or as we get in the season, I think they knew when they moved Daniel Jones out of Minnesota, because he clearly could have stayed there, to take Anthony Richardson's job. They always knew that they would be at the point right now where people are saying Daniel Jones is an MVP. Why is it important for Daniel Jones to be an MVP after 6 years? But they're not talking about the New York Giants staff who should have already been fired. Why is it important for Daniel Jones to be successful but not hold the New York Giants accountable for the lack of development? Let's just call it that. Then we got Drake May, who's a white quarterback, just like Daniel Jones. Shedeur is could play against Drake May with Quishon Junkins, with the defense, with the current receivers, including Gage and Isaiah Bond, and they would win. And that's why I think they're saying after the bye week. We got to give Dylan more opportunity. For what? Is it really about Dylan's opportunity, or is it about the opportunity for the Patriots? That's what I think. That's really that's what I think. Let me look at Cleveland's schedule again right fast. Hold on one second. Cleveland Browns schedule. See, I thought they was on a bye week this week. Then I was like, oh no, the Patriots game is actually first. Okay, so they go from October 26th to November 9th, which means today is October 21st. All right, here we go. Okay. So the 26th, the Patriots. The second that y'all put in the comments, the bye week. This for people who didn't see that. November 2nd is the bye week. And then they're saying Shedeur will play after the bye week versus the Jets. That's interesting. I thought they would have let Dylan play that game because it's a gimme. It's easy. Unless this is the game that the Jets finally win, but it will be two black quarterbacks playing each other. And yes, it matters for people that think it don't. It absolutely does. I don't think they want Shedeur to play. I don't know how this game gonna go. We're gonna find out about it, but there's an agenda, and I think the agenda is if Shedeur could play versus the Jets, which means he could get in, he's not supposed to beat the Patriots. And Shedeur, Quinshawn, and the defense and the receivers with Bond and Gage could beat the Patriots. You see? This is what I mean by they all up there, 32 owners. Well, you know what? You go ahead. I'm going to let you get this one. That's what I think is happening. That's exactly what happened, in my opinion, with Miami versus the Browns. Now, tell me something. Why is it the Browns don't want to, one, bench Tua, two, fire their head coach? You ain't got to fire your head coach, but you definitely got a backup quarterback over there that went to UT. And didn't they go to like the semifinals of the playoffs last year? And you don't want to put him in? It's given what they did to Shedeur, holding him back. The difference is, yes, I believe they colluded against both of them. Why would I want Miami to continue losing? Because let's look at Miami's schedule. Let's see who they're going to help out. Because they definitely helped the Browns. They helped Stefanski keep his job. Miami Dolphins schedule. Let's see. When the fans start picking up on that these that collusion is not just happening on the field with the players' money, but that is happening to rig the games, the NFL gonna end up like Vegas. Nobody gonna want to be there. And people can't see it, but it can happen. Okay, so Miami has the Falcons, the Ravens, the Bills. So here's who they can help out. I'm gonna share my screen so y'all can see this. Why else would you want to keep Tua, who you know is not good? The head coach, who you know is failing the team, because you're going to use the rest of this schedule to help out somebody else you want to get to the front of their division. Maybe the Bills are tied with the Patriots. I don't know. Maybe I need to bump them up one. It's not far-fetched at all. When you see all of the collusion that's happening behind the scenes start to come into the forefront, whether it's Lamar Jackson been colluded against 3 times, they snatched away his 3rd MVP to give it to Josh Allen so they could give him $330 million. They make excuses for Josh Allen. They want Josh Allen to lead the way, to not be a dual threat and be a pocket passer. Why? So I don't have to draft no more black athletic dual threat quarterbacks. Because when they brought in, I think it's Michael Vick or the quarterback before him, the mobility is what opened the doors for the black quarterbacks. And now the NFL wants to close it. That's why Dylan and Tua exist. People gonna get mad at that, but I don't have a problem with telling them. And they allowing themselves to be used for the money. See, everybody not gonna do that, right? The players that's coming out of school with big bucks, they not gonna do that. So let's see. Okay, I can share it. The Dolphins schedule right here. All right. Because that's the first thing I said to myself. I said, now why on earth would they want to keep Tua? I can see if you want to keep your head coach, but keeping Tua makes absolutely no sense. And I'm like, wait a minute. Let me see who they want to help out. And that's what they're doing. All right. So here we go. All right, so y'all can see the screen, right? All right, so let me go back to my side. Okay, so you see they got the Falcons first. They cheating the Falcons, but the Falcons could beat the Dolphins. The Ravens, they dead last. The Browns have a better record than the Dolphins, then the Bills. We're going to look at where the Bills are to see where they are. The Commanders, they don't want to help them. The Saints, they don't want to help them. The Jets, nope, don't want to help them either. Let's see. The Steelers, yep, want to help the Steelers. The Bengals, yep, want to help the Bengals. And yep, I want to help Buccaneers. Anybody saw the Lions versus Buccaneers game? That was crazy. Did y'all see the look on the face of the head coach after the game for the Buccaneers? He looked like, what the WTF? when he went to talk to the other coach, he was nice, shook his hand. But after the camera pan was looking at him, after he, and hugged the other coach and they exchanged, niceties or whatever, he looked perplexed. Like, what's going on? Like something happened that he's not aware of. Like something took place that he's not aware of. The Dolphins and the Patriots. Okay, so yes, they want to help the Patriots. They want to help the Bucks. They want to help the Bengals. They want to help the Steelers. So yeah, Miami's last 4 games are supposed to go to the Steelers, to the Bengals, to the Bucks, and to the Patriots, the team we're talking about. When you look at the standings right now, you have the American Football Conference. Who's first? The Patriots. Who's second? The Bills. Who you think they prefer to come out right now? The Patriots. Pay attention. Not really talking about Josh Allen right now. The Dolphins are third against the Jets. So if I keep Tua in, I guarantee you that we're not beating the Bills. And then if there's some kind of divisional wild card, they get to have games with Josh Allen versus Drake May, 2 white quarterbacks rather than 2 black quarterbacks. AFC North, the Steelers and the Bengals. The Steelers are ahead, so they would just probably win outright. As you can see, the Browns are down here. So if the Browns were to beat the Patriots and the Bengals were to lose whoever they're playing, the Browns would go to 3-5, and the Bengals would go to 3-5. You see, with Shedeur in there, they could catch up. With 4 games, they ain't gonna catch up. But if he play the Patriots on to the rest, they could be right here with the Steelers. The AFC South, the Colts, the Jags. You see, the Jags can't get it together or don't want to get it together. Why? Because they want who they put over here. This is why they put him over here. You tell me that Daniel Jones could have stayed right there in Minnesota. Yes. They moved him from behind J.J. McCarthy and put him to take Anthony Richardson's job. And now, miraculously, the Colts are doing well. Minnesota could have did well. Why did they want Minnesota to do well? Why did they have to why he had to go over here? Because he took Anthony Richardson's job, and instead of 17-32 with moving people around because the Saints got Spencer Rattler instead of Tyler Shaw, it keeps the numbers below 16-32. That's exactly why he's over there in Indianapolis. The Broncos and the Chargers, they're about what and what. You see, the Chiefs got to fight their way out. You see, now, Pat Mahomes, instead of leading the way, he got held back from the beginning. He got to fight his way out. So, Bo Nix, Daniel Jones, Aaron Rodgers, and Drake May. That's 4. All right. Then over here, you have the Eagles. Now, remember, they said it was going to be the Green Bay Packers. Keep that in mind. So we got the Eagles. That is Jalen Hurts. The Packers, Jordan Love. I don't know how they could say with the Eagles 5-2 and the Packers 4-1. Before the season started, the Packers was going to win the Super Bowl. Why would you think the Packers will win over the Philadelphia Eagles, who have been to the Super Bowl twice in the last 5 years? General statistics say it's going to be the Eagles, but that's dismantled the team. And come to find out, a player that retired decided to come back to help out, I think, on defense with the Eagles. So the Eagles are making a run for it. And then we have the Buccaneers, which y'all know who that is. Baker Mayfield, and who else? Brock Purdy or Mac Jones? Mac Jones. So how many black quarterbacks did I call out? 2. So if there's 8, if it turns out to be 8, instead of 4-4, it's only 2 black quarterbacks now. And if they said the Eagles wasn't going, who the hell did they think was going? That? Or they knew it wasn't Jaden? Or did they think it was going to be the Giants? Because when they said the Green Bay Packers, I'm like, who did you think was going to get out this division? So anyway, that's to me, that's why Miami is still rolling with Tua, who they know can't win, rolling with the head coach who they know can't win, and they just helping other teams so they could get that, that game to put them, maybe a sure shot to the front. I'm shocked at what they doing with Drake May over Josh Allen, but that's what I see. That's what I see. I guess they said, to hell with Josh Allen. We got Drake May. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But I know they want Daniel Jones and Drake May, to one of them to come out of whatever conference that was. All right. So let's see. What time is it? We've been here for a minute. Okay, we good. We good. We good. All right. So it said ESPN kept showing the Lions running back Gibbs his TD touchdown dunk celebration all night. Oh, I didn't see that. Who is it? Gibbs? Lions running back. I saw a little bit of that game. I can't say I know their players. Shedeur wins the Vikings game. Yeah, Shedeur could beat the Vikings. Trevor Lawrence is straight garbage. It said he has weapons and a good O-line. He got dogs on the O-line, and he still has trouble getting the ball to his weapons. I'm trying to figure out what the hell they went get Travis for if they knew they had Trevor, who's not good, till 2029. That is people say Tua's contract is bad. To me, they saddled the ownership with a poor quarterback for like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years. That's crazy. It's like they have no chance. If you go get Travis and you have Trevor and you say, I can use Travis, more on both sides of the ball, that'll kind of help out the whole Trevor issue. But you don't do that. You don't do that. So you ain't trying to win either. You just trying to keep your fans coming to the games, because I've seen their stands. They be a little sparse. The Jacksonville stands can be a little sparse at times, especially last year. It said ESPN kept showing the running back. I didn't see it. I'm gonna have to go look at it. It said Daniel Jones was with the Giants last year. Sam Darnold was a QB with the Vikings. Daniel Jones got shipped out of New York over to the Vikings practice squad. They moved him out of New York and sent him to the Vikings practice squad. And now I'm like, why you just couldn't make him the starter? Okay, I get it. You moved, and there was no reason to move Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold had a good record with Minnesota, but they moved Sam Darnold out and booted out Geno Smith to the Raiders. And you see what's going on over there. Why Geno Smith couldn't stay in Seattle? Because they said they didn't want to pay him. But they said they didn't want to lose him either. They just trying to get rid of Geno Smith. Also devalued. Was supposed to be a first-round draft pick. It said they definitely don't want Shedeur beating Drake May. Right. That's what I'm telling you. That's why I think we're hearing. That's why I say pay attention to tomorrow's narrative. I think that's why we're hearing Shedeur could play after the bye. So you want Shedeur to play the Jets. You know Shedeur could probably beat the Jets. And I'm like, Shedeur could beat the Patriots. So it's either the Patriots or it's a can of worms with a label on it that I need to go read and figure out what's the can of worms is going to open. I think it's more about Drake May, to be honest. I don't even know what the hell can of worms it could cause, because there's nothing you can tell us to make us believe that you knew that Dylan was better than Shedeur. You didn't even believe it. Stefanski didn't even believe it. What did he say? Yeah, I had to think a lot before I put Dylan in. Right. I think they trying to take the heat off Stefanski so he could keep his job. That's what I think. By making it a Dylan Shedeur who's better. That's what I think. You let me know your thoughts. But we'll be back tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow to see what the narrative is. I say they don't want Shedeur and company to defeat. And honestly, the Browns have a real shot. I don't think they want the Browns to have a real shot. And with them getting a new stadium, the owner will be like, oh, yeah, that's fine. That's what I mean by the owner's to allow people to win or get ahead or hold back other people. The league is not competitive like it's supposed to be. And one of the glaring ways, two of the glaring ways you know that is because Miami still got Tua as their quarterback. That's one. And the Browns still got Dylan, with Shedeur being their franchise QB that they was going to pay $46 million on the bench. So it's looking like Dylan and Tua are used to hold back the Miami Dolphins intentionally. And the Browns intentionally. That's what it's given. That's what it's given. So maybe the Patriots can make their way. I don't know. All right, so we're gonna get out of here. I'll be back tomorrow, guys. I hope y'all enjoyed the podcast. 232 of us. Don't forget, Saturday, join us if you have time. Game night, meaning Colorado versus Utah. It starts at about, I think the virtual watch party starts at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm wearing my pajamas. It's gonna be a late one. Might as well wear your pajamas. Bring your snacks, get your blanket and your pillow, because we probably gonna be up for the next 3 to 4 hours, which is that, what is that, 1 o'clock? So we'll just make it fun. We'll just make it fun. And y'all make sure y'all show our guys some love, the Sanders family, but as well as Justin Fields and Travis Hunter when y'all see them, right? Because people giving them a hard time for embracing God is insanity that my mind can't even come to some understanding about. Oh, Gretchen said they care less about winning, the owners, because they get 200 million. Make that 400 million now. They did. They used to get 250 million each. If you were on the other day, you heard me read a statistic about the revenue that the Browns have made from when Jimmy Haslam took over in 2012 to now. They get 430 or 450 million dollars each from TV revenue. So it has doubled since the Colin Kaepernick kneeling protest. It has doubled. So no, they don't care about who wins or loses. And that's been the case. But what I'm saying, it's now becoming apparent to the fans that they don't care. You people thought it was competitive. They're now seeing this is 1 year that you can look at the draft and say it was not about talent. You can look at Miami and say it's not about winning. You can look at the Browns and say it's not about winning. You can look at the Jags and question what the hell y'all got going on. You can look at the Raiders and ask what the hell y'all got going on. You can look at a lot of these teams, the Falcons, and go, why are y'all cheating your quarterback? 16 to 32. They would rather be fine with the $400 million check. They don't give a damn. They get the gate receipts regardless. I just got to keep bodies on the field. And if the NFL is still the same NFL that didn't want black quarterbacks, now that black quarterbacks are getting ready to take over at the starting position, meaning become the majority, what I see is they doing everything to stop it. And that's the issue with Shedeur. I have no idea what the hell the issue is with Quinn Ewers, but it could be to make me think it's not race when it comes to Shedeur. Because I can't think of no reason that they would have Quinn Ewers fall to last, other than somebody had to fall to last with Shedeur, so it doesn't look like we're discriminating against Shedeur. Because one of the things that happened for Quinn Ewers after the draft, he instantly got $1 million endorsement after his family screamed collusion. And they're right. So I think he was collateral damage so people wouldn't see that they're only devaluing Shedeur because he's black. Oh, they did it to Quinn Ewers too. But did they humiliate Quinn Ewers publicly? No. And that's the difference. All right, we're going to get out of here, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow, 10:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks for watching What She Said Sports. Have a good night. Thank you for watching What She Said Sports. Be sure to join our daily live stream and listen up to What She Said Sports on the go on Spotify. Thank you for watching What She Said Sports. Stay for another video.